Well, Madam Chairman, I thank you for holding this hearing on energy matters at this time, and I welcome the panelists to what I hope will be a substantive discussion of energy supply and environmental issues. I find the submitted testimony very encouraging in this regard. And Dr. Ward, thank you for joining us as our guest. To observe our administration's energy decisions is to wonder whether it has any comprehension of the future energy supply challenges our country faces. The ill-conceived Gulf drilling moratorium flies in the face of everything common sense tells us about our precarious energy future and what we should be doing about it today. The drilling moratorium is already killing good-paying American energy jobs, sending rigs overseas, and with them our workers, equipment, capital, and eventually America's traditional energy infrastructure. Given the global nature of energy production, these rigs won't be returning anytime soon. What's more, President Obama has not even responded to our invitation to travel to Houston, Texas, to meet face-to-face with the energy workers and small businesses whose livelihoods are at risk due to the moratorium. Yet the President will be traveling to Houston August 9th to raise campaign cash for the Democratic Party. We've asked him for just an hour of his time, or maybe even just 15 minutes of his time, to meet with our workers and businesses, but as of today, just silence from the White House. Mr. President, can you spare any time at all for these Americans whose jobs you are killing and sending overseas? Where are your priorities? Neither the White House nor Congress seem to understand that the current relative lull in energy demand results from a weak economy. It doesn't mean we have the luxury of halting large-scale energy projects and betting our future on small-scale alternatives that we all support but are not yet ready to affordably meet America's energy needs. The Gulf of Mexico accounts for 19% of the nation's total proven oil reserves and 30% of total U.S. production. Solar and wind technologies together account for less than 1% of the nation's energy supply. In 2008, the Gulf of Mexico's outer continental shelf had the largest amount of new oil field discoveries in the United States, which increased our proven reserves while oil reserves fell for the nation as a whole. By all means, let's help renewable energy develop its full potential. But let's not foolishly thwart the growth potential of our established energy industry, which provides the affordable bridge to America's green future. After 50,000 wells have been drilled in the Gulf's federal outer continental shelf and nearly 4,000 in deep water without a substantial spill, how can anyone jump to the conclusion that the BP accident points to an imminent systemic threat and then shut off all deep water drilling? And who would bet America's economy on subsidized wind and sun energy when there are private companies investing billions of dollars to develop deep water oil and gas reserves off our shores? Does this make any sense, and where is the cost-benefit analysis? A recent study by IHS Global Insight found last week that if policies were adopted by Congress or the White House that effectively prevent independent oil companies from participating in future Gulf offshore development, the employment loss would reach 300,000 American jobs. And the loss of local, state, and federal revenues would total $147 billion in losses over the next decade. And that's because independent energy producers hold the majority interest in 81% of all producing leases in the Gulf of Mexico, nearly half of those in the deep water. This week, rather than the House of Representatives hastily rushing through legislation with far-reaching impacts on jobs, energy prices, and energy security, it would be much wiser to bring together science, industry, and government in partnership to develop a thoughtful, safe, and prosperous path forward to Gulf exploration and development. Our national economy, already suffering with 9.5% unemployment and a subpar recovery, cannot be harmed further with the devastating drilling moratorium and hasty legislation that kills jobs and makes us even more dependent on foreign oil. Madam Chairman, I will submit the rest of my statement for the record, but we look forward to the discussion today on the path forward. Thank you.